A black woman is publicly humiliated by a wealthy rancher in front of his entire crew, but he has no idea that she holds the key to saving his empire, and she's about to make him pay a price he never imagined. See that thing? Mr. Thompson gestured with a dismissive hand toward the enormous silent piece of machinery. It's the best money can buy, and it's dead. If you can fix the tractor that no one else can, I'll pay you double. He looked Maya up and down, a smirk playing on his lips as his ranch hands snickered behind him. But let's be honest, you can't. Maya ignored the men. Her eyes were fixed on the machine, then they slowly moved to meet Thompson's arrogant gaze. "When I'm done," she said, her voice steady and low, "the price won't be double. It'll be exactly what I demand." Before we see how Maya plans to turn the tables on this powerful rancher, do us a favor and hit that like button so this story can reach more people. Subscribe to our channel and ring the bell so you don't miss the shocking conclusion. And let us know you're with us by commenting with your city and the word justice. The place was Thompson Agricorp, a sprawling ranch in rural Texas that swallowed the horizon. Dust kicked up from the boots of a half-dozen men who stood around like vultures watching the confrontation. It was high noon, and the sun was merciless, reflecting off the polished green paint of the Agri-Titan 9000. The machine was a monster, more computer than engine, and it had been the centerpiece of Thompson's operation. Now, it was a multi-ton paperweight, sitting useless in the main barn. For 2 months, it had been silent. Mechanics from dealerships in Dallas and Austin had come and gone, shaking their heads and leaving behind hefty invoices for their failed attempts. The harvest was just weeks away, and every day of inaction was costing Thompson a fortune. Maya Washington was the owner of a small, one-woman operation called Precision Diesel Works, tucked away in a rented garage on the edge of town. She was known for her talent, but only by the small-time farmers who couldn't afford the dealership prices. She was an outsider, a black woman in a world dominated by white men who had inherited their land and their prejudices. She got the call from Thompson's foreman, a man who had secretly brought his own equipment to her before and knew what she was capable of. It was a call of desperation. Thompson was against it from the start, but he was out of options. The central problem wasn't just the broken tractor, it was the suffocating arrogance of men like Arthur Thompson. He saw Maya and didn't see a highly skilled diesel tech with a degree in mechanical engineering. He saw a woman, a black woman, who was out of her place. He made the bet not because he thought she could win, but because he wanted to amuse his men and put her in her place. The challenge was a performance, a public display of his power and her perceived inferiority. He was sure she would fail, and he would have a good story to tell about the time that woman from town thought she could play with the big boys. But Maya wasn't just there to fix a machine. She was there to break a system. As she walked toward the Agri-Titan, ignoring the whispers and stares, she already suspected the problem wasn't just a simple mechanical failure. The previous mechanics were competent, but they were looking for a broken part. Maya looked for patterns. She looked for what was out of place, what didn't make sense. Her investigation would uncover more than just a faulty sensor or a clogged fuel line. It would lead her down a path of corporate secrets and potential sabotage that reached far beyond this single machine. The fight wasn't about getting paid double. It was about taking something Thompson valued more than money, his pride and his control. What secret was the multi-million-dollar tractor hiding in its complex systems? And was Maya prepared to use that secret to not only fix an engine, but to dismantle a man's legacy? Maya walked to the Agri-Titan 9000 as if the audience of scornful men didn't exist. She placed a heavy-duty Pelican case on the ground and opened it with a series of satisfying clicks. Inside, there was no jumble of greasy wrenches and sockets. Instead, neatly arranged in custom foam cutouts, were a ruggedized laptop, a set of electronic multimeters, and a series of complex-looking interface cables. One of the younger ranch hands muttered, She gonna fix it with a computer? Another laughed. Maybe she'll email it back to life. Thompson watched for a moment, arms crossed over his chest. He saw her pull on a pair of clean black nitrile gloves. "Don't get your hands too dirty," he called out, the sarcasm dripping from his voice. "Let me know when you're ready to admit defeat. We can all go get a beer." He turned and walked back toward the main ranch house without waiting for a reply, confident his point had been made. His departure was a signal, and most of the crew dispersed, leaving only two of the older hands and the foreman, Dale, to watch from a distance. Maya ignored them all. She ran a gloved hand along a seam on the tractor's side panel, feeling for the release latch. She found it, and a large section of the machine's body swung open, revealing not a simple engine block, but a dense labyrinth of wires, hydraulic lines, and computer modules. It looked more like the inside of a spaceship than a piece of farm equipment. Dale, the foreman, shifted his weight nervously. He was a man in his 50s with a weathered face who had worked for Thompson's father. He'd seen a lot, but he'd never seen a machine stump so many experts. He cautiously approached her. "Miss Washington, anything you need? Water?" "I'm fine, Dale," she said without looking up from the engine compartment. "Tell me again what the dealership techs did." "Everything," Dale sighed, shaking his head. "They replaced the entire fuel injection system, swapped out the turbo. They even flew in a new ECU from the factory in Illinois. Cost Mr. Thompson over $50,000 in parts alone. Each time, it runs for about 5 minutes, then just dies. No error codes, no warnings. It just shuts down cold. No codes," Maya repeated quietly, more to herself than to him. That was the first red flag. A modern machine like this was designed to diagnose itself. It logged every hiccup, every pressure drop, every misfire. For it to fail so completely, without leaving a digital trace, was not just unlikely. It was nearly impossible. It suggested the system was being told to lie. She connected a thick cable from her laptop to a diagnostic port near the main control unit. The screen lit up, and lines of code began to scroll. The remaining ranch hands watched for a few minutes, saw nothing but text on a screen, and eventually wandered off, bored. Dale stayed, a silent sentinel by the barn door. For over an hour, Maya said nothing. She just stared at the screen, her brow furrowed in concentration. She wasn't looking at the standard diagnostic readouts. She had bypassed the user-friendly interface and was deep in the machine's root code, the digital DNA that controlled every function. She saw the logs from the previous mechanics' attempts. She saw the new parts being registered by the system. And then she saw the phantom. It was a tiny block of code buried deep within a subroutine for the emissions control system, a place no mechanic would ever think to look for a catastrophic engine failure. It was elegant, malicious, and expertly hidden. The code was a simple loop. After the engine reached operating temperature and ran for precisely 5 minutes, the program would send a kill signal directly to the fuel pump and ignition controller, bypassing all safety logs. It faked a total system failure so perfectly that it left no evidence of tampering. It was digital sabotage. But who would do it, and why? She copied the block of code onto a secure drive. She ran a search for its signature, cross-referencing it with a private database she subscribed to, a forum for independent high-tech mechanics who shared information about corporate dirty tricks. A hit came back almost instantly. The code was linked to a third-party agricultural tech company, Harvest Guard Solutions. They offered performance upgrade software packages for high-end machinery. The forum was filled with anonymous reports from other mechanics who had found the same code on tractors that had mysteriously failed, always after a Harvest Guard technician had recently been on site for a routine software update. The scam was clear. Harvest Guard would install their malicious code, wait for the machine to fail, and then, when the owner was desperate, they would be the only ones who could miraculously fix it for an exorbitant fee. They were creating the disease and selling the cure. Maya pulled up Thompson Agricorp's service records, which Dale had given her. There it was, plain as day. 3 months ago, a service call from Harvest Guard Solutions to install a fuel efficiency upgrade. Maya leaned back, a slow, cold smile spreading across her face. Thompson thought this was about a broken tractor. He thought this was about his money. He had no idea he was the victim of a high-tech protection racket. She didn't just have the solution to his problem. She had proof of a corporate conspiracy that was likely costing ranchers across the country millions. And Arthur Thompson was standing right in the middle of it. The power had just shifted. The bet wasn't about double her fee anymore. It was about how much Thompson was willing to pay for her silence. Maya disconnected her laptop and packed her equipment away with methodical precision. She didn't rush. Every click of a latch, every neatly coiled cable was a deliberate act. She had the key, and now it was time to choose which door to unlock. She closed the Pelican case and stood up, wiping a non-existent speck of dust from her jeans. She turned to Dale, who was still watching her with a mixture of awe and confusion. "Go get Mr. Thompson," she said. Her voice was calm, but it carried a new weight. It wasn't a request. "Tell him I'm finished." Dale nodded quickly and hurried off toward the ranch house. A few minutes later, Thompson reappeared, walking with a confident swagger. The 2 ranch hands who had remained trailed behind him, curious to see the final act of this little drama. He stopped a few feet from Maya, a condescending smile already forming. "So, ready to pack it in?" he asked loudly for the benefit of his men. "Don't feel bad. Some of the best mechanics in Texas couldn't figure this thing out. It was a long shot." Maya didn't answer. Instead, she walked to the cab of the Agri-Titan 9000, opened the door, and climbed up into the operator's seat. The silence in the cavernous barn was thick. Thompson's smirk faltered slightly, replaced by a look of bemusement. He watched as she inserted the key into the ignition. She paused, her hand hovering over it, and met his eyes through the clean glass of the cab window. Then she turned the key. The dashboard lit up with a soft green glow. A series of electronic beeps sounded, and then, with a deafening roar that shook the corrugated metal walls of the barn, the Agri-Titan's massive diesel engine exploded to life. The sound was raw and powerful, a beast waking from a long slumber. The 2 ranch hands took an involuntary step back. Dale's jaw hung open. Thompson was stunned into silence. He stared at the machine, which was now humming with a steady, powerful rhythm, its exhaust puffing out clean and regular. He looked from the tractor to Maya, who sat calmly in the driver's seat, her expression unreadable. It's running," one of the hands stammered. "It ran for the other guys, too," Thompson snapped, recovering himself. "The real test is if it stays running." He pulled out his phone and started a timer. "Let's see what happens in 5 minutes. They waited. 1 minute passed, then 2. The engine never sputtered. At the 5-minute mark, Thompson looked at his phone, then back at the tractor, his face a mask of disbelief. The machine was running perfectly. Maya switched it off, and the sudden silence was just as shocking as the noise had been. She climbed down from the cab, her boots making soft thuds on the concrete floor. Thompson cleared his throat, trying to regain his composure. "Well, I'll be damned," he said, forcing a gruff chuckle. "You did it. A deal's a deal. Tell Dale your rate, and I'll have my accountant cut you a check for double. You earned it." He turned to leave, anxious to put an end to his public humiliation. "I don't want your money, Mr. Thompson," Maya said clearly. He stopped dead in his tracks and turned back around. "What did you say?" "I said, I don't want your money," she repeated, stepping closer. She held up her ruggedized tablet, its screen glowing. "Because we don't have a deal, not yet. You see, your tractor was never broken." Thompson stared at her, confused. "What the hell are you talking about? It's been sitting here for 2 months. "It was sabotaged," Maya stated flatly. She showed him the screen, displaying the lines of malicious code she had isolated. This was buried in your emissions software. It's designed to shut the engine down after 5 minutes of operation and erase any error logs. It was put there intentionally. She swiped the screen, bringing up his service records. By a company called Harvest Guard Solutions. They installed it 3 months ago during a software upgrade. They infect the machines, wait for the owner to get desperate, and then they charge a fortune for a proprietary fix that only they have. You weren't the first, and you won't be the last. The color drained from Thompson's face. The arrogance was gone, replaced by a flash of fury, then a wave of cold realization. He was a victim. He, Arthur Thompson, had been played for a fool. The public humiliation he had tried to inflict on Maya was nothing compared to the private shame he now felt. "I'll sue them," he growled. "I'll ruin them." "And what will you tell the court?" Maya countered, her voice sharp as steel. "That you, one of the biggest ranchers in Texas, got taken by a simple software virus? That you spent over $50,000 on useless repairs because you couldn't see what was right in front of you? That story will be all over the county by lunchtime. Your competitors will have a field day. Your reputation will be in the mud." Thompson was trapped. He stared at Maya, finally seeing the intelligence and the danger in her eyes. She wasn't just a mechanic, she was a strategist. "What do you want?" he asked, his voice barely a whisper. "I fixed your tractor," Maya said, her gaze unwavering. "Now, we're going to talk about my price. And it has nothing to do with a check." Thompson's eyes narrowed. The two ranch hands, sensing the sudden shift in atmosphere, looked nervously between their boss and Maya. Dale just stood near the barn door, his expression unreadable. "Get out," Thompson said, his voice low and gravelly. He didn't look at his men. His gaze was locked on Maya. "All of you, go!" The hands scrambled away, glad to be dismissed. Dale gave Maya a brief, almost imperceptible nod before turning and following them, shutting the large sliding door behind him and plunging the barn into a dimmer, more intimate light. Dust motes danced in the sunbeams slanting through the high windows. "My office," Thompson commanded, turning on his heel and striding toward a door at the back of the barn. It wasn't a request. Maya picked up her pelican case and followed him. The office was what she expected. Dark wood, leather chairs, and a wall of photos showing Thompson with prize-winning bulls, local politicians, and shaking hands with other powerful men. He went straight to a small bar in the corner and poured himself a whiskey, downing it in one gulp before pouring another. He didn't offer her one. "You think you have me over a barrel," he said, turning to face her. "You come onto my property, fix my machine, and now you think you can blackmail me?" "I don't need to blackmail you," Maya replied, setting her case down on a polished table. "I'm offering you a business proposition, the best one you're going to get all year." "A proposition," he scoffed. "Sounds a lot like extortion." "Call it whatever you want. Here are my terms," she began, her tone all business. "First, effective immediately, you will terminate your contract with every third-party maintenance provider you use. All of them." Thompson's jaw tightened. "That's insane." "Second," she continued, ignoring him, "you will sign an exclusive 5-year contract with my company, Precision Diesel Works, for the complete maintenance and diagnostics of your entire fleet. All your tractors, combines, balers, everything that has an engine and a computer. The rates will be standard for corporate service contracts." He let out a harsh laugh. "You, a one-woman shop in a rented garage, want to handle the fleet of a multi-million-dollar operation? You don't have the capacity." "Which brings me to my third term," Maya said, her voice dropping, becoming even more serious. "You will build me a new workshop right here on this property, a fully equipped 4-bay facility with all the diagnostic hardware and lifts I require. You'll pay for the construction and the equipment. I'll provide the list." Thompson slammed his glass down on the desk. "You are out of your goddamn mind. This is my ranch. I don't just build workshops for every grease monkey who gets lucky one time." "I wasn't lucky," Maya shot back, her calm finally cracking to reveal the steel beneath. "I was competent. Something the half-dozen men you paid before me were not." That 50,000 you wasted on parts, that would have been a down payment on the new shop. Think of it as an investment in your own operational security, because right now, Mr. Thompson, you are vulnerable. She leaned forward, her hands flat on his desk. This isn't just about Harvest Guard. This is a new era. Machines are getting smarter, and so are the people who want to exploit them. Your whole operation, this empire you've built, runs on technology you don't understand. But I do. With me here on site, this never happens again. Without me, who knows what the next software upgrade will do? He stared at her, the wheels turning in his head. He was a businessman above all else. He hated her. He hated the situation, but he couldn't deny the cold, hard logic in her words. She was right. He was exposed. And the Harvest Guard situation? He finally asked, his voice softer now, defeated. What about them? This was the moment Maya had been waiting for. This was where the leverage became a weapon. I've done some digging, she said, pulling out her tablet again. I have a list of 6 other ranches and farms in 3 states that have been hit with the same code. All of them had recent service from Harvest Guard. This is a criminal enterprise, plain and simple. So we give the evidence to the authorities, Thompson said, a flicker of his old self returning. Let the lawyers handle it. No, Maya said firmly. That's not good enough. They'll get a fine, maybe some probation, and the man at the top will walk away clean. I looked him up too. She swiped to a photo. It was a man in an expensive suit, smiling, shaking hands with another man at a charity gala. Thompson recognized him immediately. Marcus Thorne, she said, her voice like ice. The CEO of Harvest Guard Solutions. I believe you two are on the board of the Texas Agribusiness Council together. Thompson sank into his leather chair, the blood draining from his face. The betrayal was no longer corporate. It was personal. He had been swindled by a man he knew, a man from his own world. That son of a bitch, he whispered. He humiliated you, Mr. Thompson, Maya said, pressing her advantage. He made you look like a fool and was about to charge you to fix the problem he created. A lawsuit will take years and he'll bury it in paperwork. We're not going to sue him. We're going to destroy him. Thompson looked up, a dangerous light in his eyes. How? Maya smiled. It was a cold, sharp, predatory thing. Because Harvest Guard is going to get a call from a very desperate rancher who needs his prized Agri-Titan 9000 fixed, no matter the cost. We're going to set a trap, and you, Mr. Thompson, are going to be the bait. For a long moment, Arthur Thompson just stared at Maya, a storm of emotions crossing his face. Rage, humiliation, and a grudging, newfound respect. He was a man who understood power, and in his own office, surrounded by the trophies of his success, he had just been completely stripped of it. Maya hadn't just outsmarted him, she had shown him a vulnerability in his empire he never knew existed. And then she had offered him the weapon to destroy the man who had exploited it. The choice was simple: pride or revenge. Get your lawyer to draw up the contracts, he said, his voice a low growl. Both of them. The service agreement and the proposal for the new workshop. I want to see them on my desk by tomorrow morning. He looked her dead in the eye. But if this goes wrong, I'll bury you and your little company so deep, no one will ever find the remains. It won't go wrong, Maya said, picking up her case. Winners don't make plans for what happens if they lose. 2 days passed. The contracts were signed, notarized, and filed. On the 3rd morning, Maya was back in the main barn before sunrise. Thompson and Dale found her with her laptop connected to the Agri-Titan 9000 once again. What are you doing? Thompson demanded. I thought you fixed it. I did, Maya said, her eyes on the screen. And now I'm breaking it again. She typed a final command and hit enter. I've just reinstalled Harvest Guard's kill code. Same exact file, right back where it was. As far as their system is concerned, nothing has changed. The tractor is still dead. She then pointed to 3 different spots in the barn's rafters. There are 3 high-definition, audio-enabled cameras up there. They're feeding a live signal to this tablet and recording to a secure cloud server. The moment their technician touches his computer, we'll have everything. Thompson nodded, a grim satisfaction on his face. He pulled out his phone. Time to make the call. He put the phone on speaker and dialed Marcus Thorne's personal number. Thorne picked up on the second ring, his voice smooth as silk. Arthur, good to hear from you. How are things? They're a damn disaster, Marcus, Thompson barked, playing his role perfectly. That Agri-Titan you guys upgraded has been a 2-ton brick for months. The dealership is useless, and I'm about to lose half my harvest. I'm desperate. There was a calculated pause on the other end of the line. That's terrible to hear, Arthur. Sometimes these advanced systems can be tricky. Look, I'll tell you what. I'll pull my best field tech off a job in Oklahoma and have him on your property this afternoon. He's an expert with the Titan's proprietary software. He'll get you running. It won't be cheap, but I'll make sure you get the friends and family rate. Just get it done, Thompson snarled and hung up. Maya looked at him. He took the bait. That afternoon, a shiny Harvest Guard Solutions truck pulled up to the barn. A young man in a crisp, branded polo shirt and cargo pants hopped out. His name was Kevin, and he radiated the smug confidence of someone who knows he holds all the cards. "Mr. Thompson, sir," he said, shaking Thompson's hand a little too firmly. "Marcus sent me. Let's have a look at the patient." He walked into the barn, gave the massive tractor a cursory glance, and set down his own sleek laptop case. "Don't you worry, we see this all the time. It's usually just a simple firmware conflict. I'll have it patched up in a jiffy." He didn't even open the engine compartment. He just plugged his laptop into the same diagnostic port Maya had used. He typed for less than a minute. The clicks of the keyboard were loud in the quiet barn. Then he turned the key. The Agri-Titan roared to life, humming perfectly. Kevin smiled, closing his laptop. "There you go. Good as new. The diagnostic and emergency patch fee is $150,000. The office will send you the invoice." He turned to leave, but his path was blocked by Dale, who had silently slid the massive barn door shut. The heavy rumble echoed through the space. "I don't think so," Thompson said, his voice cold. From the shadows of the office doorway, Maya stepped out holding her tablet. Kevin looked from her to Thompson, his confident smirk finally vanishing. "What's going on?" he asked, his voice suddenly uncertain. $150,000 to run a delete script, Maya said, her eyes fixed on him. "That seems a little steep." She turned the tablet so Kevin could see. It was playing back the last 2 minutes of video, a perfect shot of his hands on his keyboard and a screen capture of the code he had just erased. Kevin's face went pale. You can't record me. That's illegal." "What's illegal is corporate sabotage and fraud," Thompson boomed. "And we have you, your company, and this code all tied up in a neat little package." Kevin fumbled for his phone. "I'm calling my boss. I'm calling Marcus." "Please do," Maya said with a chilling smile. "Put him on speaker. I have a few questions for him myself." Kevin's hands trembled as he dialed. The phone rang twice before Marcus Thorne's smooth, confident voice came through the speaker, amplified in the tense silence of the barn. "Kevin, tell me you have good news. Is Arthur's machine purring like a kitten?" "Marcus, we have a problem," Kevin stammered, his eyes darting between Maya and Thompson. "What problem? Did you get the tractor running or not? It's a simple script. Don't tell me you messed it up." The annoyance in Thorne's voice was palpable. "Yeah, it's running, but Mr. Thompson is here, and there's a woman. They have video, Marcus. They recorded everything." There was a beat of silence on the other end. "Video? What are you talking about? Put Arthur on the phone, now." Thorne's tone shifted from annoyed to commanding. He still thought he was in control. Thompson took the phone from Kevin's shaking hand. "It's a little late for friendly chats, Marcus," he said, his voice like gravel. "Arthur, what is this nonsense? Your man Dale calls me in a panic. I send my best guy out as a favor, and now you're making threats. If this is about the price..." "Hello, Mr. Thorne," Maya's voice cut through clear and sharp. "You don't know me, but I'm the woman who found your little software surprise, the one you were about to charge Mr. Thompson $150,000 to remove." Another pause, longer this time. "Who is this?" I'm the person who has a high-definition video and audio recording of your technician admitting your company's standard procedure, Maya continued, her voice devoid of emotion. I have a copy of the malicious code he just deleted, along with your technician's digital signature from his laptop's connection to the tractor's ECU, but that's just about this farm. She took a step closer to the phone, as if speaking directly to Thorne. I also have a list of 7 other farms in Texas, Oklahoma, and Kansas, all of them running Agri-Titan 9000s, all of them serviced by Harvest Guard in the last year, and all of them suffering from a mysterious, undiagnosable engine failure. I wonder what we'll find if we go digging in their software. The silence from the phone was deafening. Kevin looked like he was about to be sick. Finally, Thorne's voice returned, no longer smooth, but a venomous hiss. You have no idea who you're dealing with. I'll have my lawyers bury you in litigation until you're begging for mercy. You have nothing. We have everything, Thompson roared into the phone. And it's all been uploaded to a secure server with instructions to be sent to the Texas Attorney General and every major news outlet in the state if anything happens to me or Ms. Washington. The trap wasn't just sprung, it was locked, and the walls were closing in. This is on you, Kevin, Thorne suddenly snarled, his voice shifting to pure rage. You were careless, you're fired, you're on your own. The line went dead. Kevin stared at the phone in Thompson's hand, his face crumpled in disbelief and terror. He had been a loyal soldier, and his general had just shot him in the back on the battlefield. He can't do that, he whispered. He just did, Maya said coolly. She turned to Thompson. He's trying to cut his losses, make Kevin the scapegoat. It won't work. She looked back at the pathetic technician. Your ex-boss is about to get another call from our lawyer. But first, we're going to decide what we want. Thompson gestured with his head toward the office. Let's talk. He looked at Dale. Make sure our guest doesn't go anywhere. Dale nodded, his large frame blocking any thought of escape. In the office, the atmosphere was completely different from their first meeting. They were no longer adversaries. They were allies in a war Maya had engineered. What's the plan? Thompson asked, his respect for her now absolute. Do we bleed him dry? Money is boring, Maya said, shaking her head. And a lawsuit lets him hide behind his lawyers. This was personal. The solution should be personal too. We're going to give him a choice. Option A, we release everything. The video, the code, the list of other victims. He faces federal wire fraud charges, a class action lawsuit that will bankrupt him and public ruin. He'll go to prison. And option B? Thompson asked, leaning forward, intrigued. Option B is our version of justice, Maya said, a hard glint in her eyes. He gets to avoid prison, but he loses everything else. Here are the terms we're going to offer him. Non-negotiable. She laid it out. First, Thorne would personally call the owner of every farm and ranch he had scammed, confess to the sabotage, and arrange for a full refund of all fraudulent charges, plus a punitive damage payment of 5 times that amount, paid out of his own pocket. Second, he would issue a public statement to the Texas Agribusiness Council, taking full responsibility for a systemic failure of corporate ethics and permanently resigning his position on the board. Third, within 90 days, he would dissolve Harvest Guard Solutions, liquidate all assets, fire every employee, and shut its doors forever. You want him to dismantle his own empire, piece by piece with his own hands, Thompson said, a slow, predatory smile spreading across his face. It was a fate worse than prison for a man like Thorne. It was total public humiliation. He tried to make you a fool, Maya said. Now the whole world will know him for one. Thompson picked up his phone and dialed his lawyer. Get ready to make a call, he said. I'm about to give you a script. And tell Marcus Thorne he has 1 hour to choose his future. He paused, looking at Maya. This is for what you did to my name, Marcus, he added, as if Thorne could hear him. If you don't do exactly as she says, I will spend the rest of my life making sure yours is worthless. The hour felt like a year. Thompson paced his office while Maya sat calmly, cleaning and reorganizing the tools in her Pelican case. Out in the barn, Dale stood guard over a defeated-looking Kevin, who hadn't said a word. The only sound was the hum of the office air conditioner and the rhythmic click of Maya's tools finding their places. 58 minutes after the call was made, Thompson's phone rang. It was his lawyer. He answered on speaker. "He folded," the lawyer said, his voice a mix of exhaustion and exhilaration. "He fought for 30 minutes, threatened, blustered, but when I sent him a single watermarked frame from the video, he collapsed. He agrees to everything, all of it. He wants a guarantee the evidence is destroyed upon completion of the terms. He'll get his guarantee when I see his company's tombstone in the ground." Thompson grunted. "Good work." He hung up and looked at Maya, a slow, dangerous smile returning to his face. "Phase 1 is complete." "Good," Maya said, closing her case. "Now, for phase 2. She walked out of the office and into the barn, stopping in front of Kevin, who flinched. "You have 2 choices," she said, her voice even. "We can give your name to the DA as a material witness in a corporate fraud case. You'll get immunity, but you'll never work in this industry again. Your name will be poison." Kevin looked up, his face pale. "What's the other choice?" "Or," Maya continued, "you can come work for me. Here, at the new Precision Diesel Works headquarters. I need a technician who knows the Agri-Titan systems inside and out, and you were trained by the people who built the back door. You'll start at the bottom, sweeping floors and changing oil, and if you prove you can be trusted, you'll get a real job. Your call." Kevin stared at her, then at Thompson, who stood in the office doorway, his arms crossed. He saw no mercy in the rancher's face, but in Maya's he saw a lifeline. "I'll work for you," he said, his voice cracking. "I'll do whatever you say." "Good," Maya said. "Dale will show you where the brooms are." 6 months later, the landscape at Thompson Agricorp had changed. Where an old, unused storage shed once stood, there was now a gleaming, state-of-the-art 4-bay workshop. The sign on the front read, "Precision Diesel Works, Thompson Agricorp Division." Inside, the concrete floors were spotless. A brand new Agri-Titan 9000 was on one lift, getting a routine diagnostic, while a combine was being worked on in another bay. Kevin, wearing a clean but grease-stained jumpsuit, was meticulously calibrating a sensor under Maya's watchful eye. 2 other young mechanics, hired from the local community college's top program, were busy at a workbench. Maya wasn't just a mechanic anymore. She was a manager, an executive, running the technological heart of a modern agricultural empire. Thompson walked in holding a tablet. He no longer looked at Maya with skepticism, but with the deference a king gives his chief strategist. "It's done," he said, handing her the tablet. On the screen was a news article from a major business journal. The headline read, "Harvest Guard Solutions closes doors amidst ethical restructuring. CEO Marcus Thorne sells assets, retires from public life." The article detailed the sudden and shocking collapse of the company. It mentioned Thorne's abrupt resignation from the Agribusiness Council and quoted an anonymous source who spoke of massive, voluntary payouts to former clients for service irregularities. Thorne's empire was gone, dismantled by his own hand, just as Maya had planned. He had chosen public shame over a prison cell. "He's finished," Thompson said with quiet satisfaction. "Justice," Maya said, handing the tablet back. She looked around her workshop, at the advanced equipment, the busy crew, the machines running perfectly. This was more than a building. It was a monument. It was the physical proof of what she had demanded and what she had earned. Thompson followed her gaze. "You know," he started, his voice gruff, "that day you first came here, I was an ass." It was the closest he would ever come to an apology. "Yes, you were," Maya agreed without malice. "You saw what you expected to see. A lot of people do." "Well," he said, clearing his throat, "they won't make that mistake here again. No one will." He looked at the Agri-Titan, the machine that had started it all. "That bet I made, double the pay. It was the best damn deal I ever lost." Maya smiled faintly, picking up a diagnostic tool. "The harvest is in 3 weeks, Mr. Thompson. Your fleet will be ready." She turned back to her work, her focus absolute. She didn't need his praise or his apologies. She had his respect, his contract, and his entire operation's future in the palm of her hand. The price had been paid in full. The weeks leading up to the harvest were a blur of focused activity. The new workshop, now officially named the PDW Tech Center, became the operational hub of the entire ranch. The old ranch hands, who had once snickered at Maya, now brought their equipment to her with a quiet respect, addressing her as ma'am or chief. They saw their machines, once plagued by constant issues, running better and longer than ever before. Maya had implemented a preventative maintenance schedule that was so effective it had already saved Thompson a fortune in predicted downtime. Kevin, for his part, was a model employee. He was quiet, diligent, and possessed an almost encyclopedic knowledge of the Agri-Titan systems that he was now using for good. He was grateful for his second chance and fiercely loyal to Maya. He worked longer hours than anyone, often staying late to study the schematics of the other machines in the fleet, determined to be as valuable as possible. Maya saw his potential and began mentoring him, teaching him the deeper diagnostic skills that went beyond the manufacturer's training manuals. The alliance between Maya and Thompson had solidified into a powerful business partnership. He handled the macro-level operations of the ranch, the commodities market, the logistics, the finances, while she commanded the entire mechanical and technological side. He never questioned her decisions or her budget requests. The $50,000 he had wasted on the dealership mechanics was now a rounding error compared to the value she had brought to his operation. He had learned his lesson. True power wasn't in bullying people, it was in recognizing talent and using it to its full potential. 1 week before the harvest was set to begin, as Maya was running a final systems check on the fleet, a notification popped up on her main diagnostic terminal. It was a mandatory firmware update from Agri-Titan headquarters. The message was cheerful and corporate. Introducing Agri-Titan OS 3. Ujiro, a more secure, efficient and connected experience for our valued partners. Installation is mandatory and will be pushed to all networked vehicles in 48 hours. Dale, who was in the workshop overseeing the fueling schedule, saw the message. "New update, huh? Guess they finally fixed that bug in the GPS." But Maya didn't smile. Her eyes narrowed. Mandatory was a word she didn't like. It meant a loss of control. "Kevin," she called out, "scrub your work. I need you to pull the source code on this update package from the developer portal. I want to see what's under the hood before we let it touch our machines." For the next 5 hours, Maya and Kevin were huddled over a terminal, dissecting the update line by line. It was millions of lines of code, a digital labyrinth. But Maya wasn't looking for a single piece of malware like before. She was looking for a change in philosophy. And then she found it. Buried deep in the new terms of service, which no farmer would ever read, and enforced by the code itself, was a new protocol. The update would encrypt the connection between the main ECU and the diagnostic port. From now on, only a proprietary, factory-authorized laptop with a constantly changing digital key could access the machine's core functions. Any attempt to connect unauthorized hardware, like Maya's, would brick the ECU completely. It was the ultimate corporate power play. Agri-Titan was locking every owner out of their own machines. They were eliminating independent mechanics in a single stroke. All repairs, all diagnostics, all service would have to go through their exorbitantly priced dealership network. "They're taking the keys," Kevin whispered, his face pale, "just like Harvest Guard, but legal." "It's worse," Maya said, her voice grim. "They're not just creating a problem to sell a cure. They're trying to make the cure itself illegal for anyone but them." She strode out of the workshop and directly to the main ranch house, not even bothering to knock. She found Thompson in his study, reviewing crop yield projections. "We have a problem," she said, placing her tablet on his desk. "A bigger problem than Marcus Thorne ever was." She explained the situation quickly and clearly. Thompson listened, his face growing darker with every word. When she was finished, he was silent for a full minute. "So they're trying to put you out of business," he finally said. "They're trying to put us out of business," Maya corrected him. "They're holding your entire fleet hostage. In 48 hours, every machine we have will become a subscription service. We won't own them anymore. We'll just be renting them." Thompson stood up and walked to the window, looking out over the fields that were ripe for harvest. All his work, his father's work, was on the line. He was being backed into a corner by a faceless corporation 1,000 miles away. He turned back to Maya. The arrogance was long gone, replaced by the steely resolve of a commander facing a superior enemy. "What's our move, Chief?" he asked. Maya's expression was just as determined. "They want to build a digital wall to keep us out. Fine. We're going to build a better one to keep them out first. We're taking this entire ranch off their grid. We're going to create our own secure, independent network for this fleet, and we have less than 48 hours to do it before they launch their attack." It was an impossible task. It meant reverse engineering the manufacturer's operating system and building a custom firewall for dozens of unique machines, all while the clock was ticking down to zero. It was a digital siege, and the attack was scheduled for midnight, 2 days from now. The PDW Tech Center transformed into a command bunker. The bay doors were shut and locked. Dale stood guard outside, a silent watchman ensuring no one and nothing interrupted them. Inside, the air was thick with the smell of stale coffee and hot electronics. A massive whiteboard was covered in Maya's frantic scrawls, flowcharts, code snippets, and network diagrams. Sleep was a luxury they couldn't afford. Thompson had turned his office into a mess hall, keeping a constant supply of food, water, and caffeine flowing. He was no longer a rancher. He was the quartermaster for a siege. Maya orchestrated the entire operation. "Kevin, I need a full system clone of the primary Agri-Titan OS. We need a clean copy to dissect in a sandboxed environment. Don't let it touch our network." "On it," Kevin said, his fingers flying across a keyboard. The two younger mechanics were tasked with the physical work, going from machine to machine, manually disabling every satellite and cellular antenna. They were physically cutting the fleet off from the outside world. "They're creating a prison for their customers," Maya muttered, staring at the lines of code scrolling on her main monitor. But every prison has a key. The first 24 hours were a brutal slog. They successfully cloned the operating system, but every time they tried to isolate the phone home protocol that would receive the update, it triggered a cascade of anti-tampering defenses. The code was designed to self-destruct if it sensed it was being analyzed. "They thought of everything," Kevin said, his face pale with exhaustion, after their third failed attempt corrupted their cloned OS, forcing them to start over. "They didn't think of me." Maya shot back, her voice raw but unbroken. "They expect a dealership tech following a checklist. They don't expect someone to rewrite the whole damn book." With 12 hours left on the clock, she had a breakthrough. She found the key. It wasn't in the communications software where they had been looking. It was hidden in the GPS module's hardware handshake. The machine would only accept a firmware update after receiving a specific encrypted location ping from an Agri-Titan server. It was a digital key disguised as a map coordinate. "That's how we beat them," she declared, a feral grin spreading across her face. "We're not going to block their signal. We're going to hijack it." The plan was audacious. They would create a closed-loop network within the ranch, a private internet for the machines. Then Maya would write a script, a spoof, that would live on their new server. When the Agri-Titan update was pushed, their server would intercept the signal. It would recognize the malicious code, block it, and then send a fake update complete signal back to Agri-Titan headquarters, using the very handshake protocol she had just discovered. To the corporation, it would look like every machine on the Thompson Ranch had been successfully assimilated. In reality, they would be completely free. The final hour was a blur of controlled chaos. Kevin and the other mechanics raced to install small, custom-built routers in the cab of every single vehicle, connecting them to the new, secure PDW network. Maya's fingers were a blur as she typed the final lines of the spoofing script. The fate of the entire harvest, of Thompson's legacy, and of her own hard-won empire rested on the integrity of her code. 5 minutes to midnight, Thompson announced, his voice tense. He stood behind Maya, watching the main network monitor. "Patch is ready," Maya said, "deploying to the fleet now." She hit the enter key. On the monitor, dozens of green icons, each representing a tractor or combine, began to flash as they received her code. One by one, they turned solid green. The PDW shield was active. 2 minutes, Dale's voice crackled over the workshop radio. They all stared at the screen. The only sound was the hum of the servers. "Midnight," Thompson breathed. A fraction of a second later, a new line appeared on the network monitor. A pulsing red arrow labeled "Incoming at OSS 3.0 mandatory." It was the attack. It hit their main server. For a heart-stopping second, nothing happened. Then a new line of text appeared in brilliant green next to the red arrow. "Signal intercepted. Payload blocked. Response spoofed." The red arrow vanished. The network went quiet. Kevin let out a whoop of pure, unadulterated joy. The other mechanics cheered. Thompson put a heavy, trembling hand on Maya's shoulder. "You did it," he whispered, his voice filled with awe. "You magnificent woman, you did it." Maya leaned back in her chair, the exhaustion of 48 hours hitting her all at once. She looked at the screen, at the solid green wall of her code that had held the line. They hadn't just survived. They had declared their independence. The harvest would begin on their terms, and their terms alone. The sun rose on a new day at Thompson AgriCorp, but it was the dawn of a new era. The harvest began not with a sense of dread, but with a roar of defiance. A fleet of more than 24 machines, all running on Maya's secure, independent network, rolled out into the fields. They performed flawlessly. Thompson stood on the porch of the main house, watching them work, a cup of coffee in his hand. For the first time in months, he wasn't just a rancher, he was a king in his own kingdom, beholden to no one. For 2 weeks, the operation was a well-oiled machine. The PDW Tech Center handled minor issues with an efficiency the dealerships could only dream of. Yields were projected to be the highest in a decade. It seemed they had won. But their enemy was not a man who could be shamed into submission. It was a corporation, a faceless entity with endless resources. And it had one more card to play. The failure came without warning. The primary combine, the most complex machine in the fleet, shuddered to a halt in the middle of a field. An alarm screamed in the cab. Kevin was on site in minutes, but even he was stumped. He called Maya. "It's not software," he said over the radio, his voice tight with frustration. "It's the main hydraulic pump controller. It's completely fried, a total hardware failure." "Then replace it," Maya ordered. "We have a spare in the shop." "That's the problem," Kevin replied. "I tried. The new controller won't sync with the ECU. It's giving me a component mismatch error. The part has to be digitally authorized by a factory server before the ECU will accept it. It's a hardware lock." Maya felt a chill run down her spine. It was the final link in the chain of control. Even if you owned the machine and had the spare part, you still had to ask the manufacturer for permission to install it. They were trapped. The harvest would grind to a halt. Thompson's face was grim when she told him. "So they win after all. We have to call them. We have to let them in." "Yes," Maya said, a strange, dangerous light in her eyes. "We have to let them in, but they're not coming here to fix a combine. They're coming here to surrender." The next day, an official Agri-Titan dealership truck rolled up to the PDW Tech Center. A senior technician named Mark stepped out. He was in his 50s, with a smug, condescending air. He looked at Maya's state-of-the-art workshop with a dismissive glance. "Heard you folks were playing mechanic," he said to Thompson, ignoring Maya completely. "This is what happens when amateurs mess with professional equipment. Let me see the machine." They led him to the silent combine. He pulled out a sleek silver laptop, the proprietary tool no one else was allowed to have. "This'll take a minute. I have to connect to the factory server to authorize the new part." He plugged his cable into the diagnostic port. He clicked a few keys. A frown creased his face. He tried again. "What the hell?" he muttered. "I can't get a signal. The ECU is firewalled." "That's right," Maya said, stepping forward. "We have our own network." Mark looked at her for the first time, his eyes full of scorn. "You've voided the warranty on every machine here. Unplug your little toy network so I can do my job." "I don't think so," Maya said. She held up her own ruggedized laptop. "Because you see, when I was building our firewall, I had to reverse engineer your entire operating system. The OS 3.0 you tried to force on us, and the 2.0 we were already running. And I found all the keys. Not just the one for the update, but the ones for parts authorization, for diagnostics, for everything." She typed a command. On her screen, a program loaded. It was called PDW Freedom. "This is a master key," she explained, her voice as cold and hard as steel. "It can authorize any part, for any Agri-Titan machine, anywhere in the world. It can unlock any feature. It can turn a basic tractor into a top-of-the-line model with a single keystroke. It renders your entire service and software model completely worthless." The color drained from Mark's face. He understood instantly. This was a corporate nuke. Thompson stepped forward, pulling out his phone. He dialed a number. "Get me CEO Caldwell," he barked. A moment later, he was speaking to the most powerful man at Agri-Titan. "Mr. Caldwell, this is Arthur Thompson. Your mandatory update failed to install on my fleet. Instead, my head of technology, Ms. Maya Washington, has just created a universal jailbreak for every piece of equipment you've ever built. So here is my demand. You will create and distribute a patch, a right-to-repair patch, that permanently removes the hardware locks from all your machines. You will make it available to all your customers for free. If you do not, Ms. Washington will release PDW Freedom onto the internet. And your service division, which accounts for 60% of your company's profit, will cease to exist by morning." Thompson paused, listening. He looked at Maya, who stood tall and unblinking, the master of a game they had tried to rig against her. "No, I'm not negotiating," Thompson said into the phone. "The days of you telling us what we can do with our own property are over. The revolution started today, right here on my ranch. Your move." 1 year later, the PDW Tech Center was unrecognizable. 2 more service bays had been added, and a small administrative building stood adjacent to it. Trucks bearing the logos of other major ranches from across Texas and Oklahoma were a common sight, waiting for service or a custom security consultation from Maya's team. The revolution that began in Thompson's barn had spread. Agri-Titan, faced with corporate annihilation, had capitulated. Within a week, they had released the AT Freedom Patch, officially designated as a customer empowerment update. But throughout the industry, everyone knew its real name, the Washington Patch. It had sent shockwaves through the agricultural world, triggering a massive right-to-repair movement that forced other manufacturers to follow suit. Maya Washington, the quiet mechanic from the edge of town, was now one of the most influential figures in agricultural technology. She had never sought the spotlight, but it had found her. Precision Diesel Works was no longer a division of Thompson AgriCorp. It was its own booming company, with Arthur Thompson sitting on the board as a silent but very wealthy partner. They didn't just service machines anymore. They designed and sold proprietary, open-source diagnostic tools and security packages that made ranchers technologically independent. Their motto was simple: you bought it, you own it, you fix it. Inside the bustling workshop, Maya stood at a central command console, overseeing the entire operation. Kevin, now her lead diagnostician and head of training, was walking the two young mechanics through a complex hydraulic schematic on a large touchscreen. He moved with a confidence that was a world away from the terrified corporate pawn he had once been. "It's not about the pressure, it's about the flow rate," he explained patiently. "The manufacturer's specs are designed for their parts. Our parts are better. Adjust the calibration." He had found not just a job, but a purpose. Thompson walked in, his boots making a familiar sound on the clean concrete. He didn't carry himself with the same arrogant bluster as before. He was still a powerful man, but his power was now tempered with wisdom. He and Maya had recently co-founded the Independent Farmers Tech Alliance, a cooperative that shared information and resources to fight corporate overreach. "The co-op in Kansas just signed on," he said, handing her a tablet. "They want to license the PDW security package for their entire membership. That's another 500 machines under our protection." "Good," Maya said, barely glancing at the contract. "Have Kevin's team handle the rollout. It's time he took the lead on a major deployment." Thompson nodded. He looked around the workshop, at the hive of activity, the hum of powerful machines, and the determined focus of Maya's crew. He then looked at the original Agri-Titan 9000, which now sat in a place of honor in the first bay, polished and maintained to perfection. It was a museum piece, a symbol of their victory. "I still think about that first day," Thompson said quietly, so only she could hear. "I looked at you and all I saw was a black woman where I didn't expect to see one. I thought I knew your limits before you even opened your toolbox." He shook his head, a look of profound self-reproach in his eyes. "I was a damn fool." Maya followed his gaze to the tractor. She didn't offer him absolution or comfort. She offered him the truth. "You were," she said simply, "but you learned. That's more than I can say for Marcus Thorne or CEO Caldwell." She turned back to her console. "The past is dead, Arthur. Look at what we built." Her words hung in the air, more powerful than any engine's roar. The initial challenge had been a joke to him, a way to humiliate her. "If you can fix the tractor that nobody can, I'll pay you double." She had done more than fix it. She had fixed the system, and in place of double the pay, she had taken the future. What an incredible journey. It started with a single, arrogant challenge from a powerful man who thought he could humiliate a woman based on the color of her skin and her gender. "If you can fix the tractor that nobody can, I'll pay you double." He had no idea that his condescending bet would ignite a revolution that would not only save his own empire, but reshape an entire industry. Maya Washington didn't just want double the pay, she demanded respect. She demanded an opportunity, and in the end, she took control. She proved beyond a shadow of a doubt that true skill, intelligence, and unbreakable will are the most powerful forces on Earth. This story is a powerful reminder that the biggest battles aren't always fought with fists, but with brains and courage. Maya faced down two different kinds of villains. First, the personal kind, in Marcus Thorne, a man who betrayed a friend for profit. She didn't just send him to jail, she orchestrated a far more satisfying punishment, forcing him to tear down his own legacy with his own hands. Then she faced the faceless corporate villain in Agri-Titan, a company that believed it could own people's property even after they had paid for it. She didn't just fight for herself or for Thompson. She fought for every farmer and every independent mechanic being squeezed by corporate greed. Arthur Thompson's transformation is just as powerful. He began as the story's antagonist, a man blinded by his own prejudice. But when faced with undeniable proof of his own foolishness and Maya's brilliance, he did something few people with his power ever do. He changed. He learned to respect her, then to trust her, and finally, to follow her lead. He went from being her obstacle to being her greatest ally, and in doing so, he became a better and more successful man. We want to know what you think. What was the most satisfying moment of justice for you? Was it seeing Marcus Thorne's company crumble, or was it the final phone call where Maya and Thompson brought the mighty Agri-Titan to its knees? Let us know your favorite part in the comments below. If you were moved by Maya's story and believe in the power of fighting for what's right, please take a second to hit that like button. It tells YouTube that you want to see more stories like this one, stories of empowerment, justice, and sweet, sweet revenge. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel and ring that notification bell. We have so many more incredible stories to share with you, and you won't want to miss a single one. Our community is the most important part of this channel, and we truly appreciate every single person who stays with us for the entire story. To show us that you're one of our most dedicated viewers, we have a special request. Go to the comments section right now and write, "I watched until the end." When we see that comment, we know you're part of the family, and it inspires us to keep finding and telling these powerful narratives. Thank you so much for your time and support. Don't leave just yet. Another amazing story that we know you'll love is appearing on your screen right now. Click that video to keep the journey going. We'll see you there.